a New Year's post game. Happy New Year's, everybody. January Celtics, the same as the December Celtics, at least to start. Um, uh, can't hit threes. That's not great. A lot of Tatum and Brown. That's not great. Ran into a good team on the road. That Denver game, the first time when Denver came through here, was like a cool benchmark victory for the Celtics. This is kind of more emblematic of what's going on. And of course, Denver shot the lights out. But, a lot of people will be like, oh, the Celtics, they shoot too many threes. They got to get back to. They actually didn't shoot a lot of threes tonight. They tried to attack. They got to the
They
free throw
adjusted,
line
yeah.
a fair amount. They shot well under their season average. They shot 33 attempts. But they just can't make anything, and that's a problem. And then obviously Denver made everything, so there's your difference.
Yeah, this is a weird
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
First quarter, I did think they settled. I did think they shot a lot. I think they were 61% of their attempts were from deep in that quarter. Missed a ton. That's kind of been a trend throughout December. I felt most games feels like they're like 0-5, and whether that lingers or not kind of swings the game. But they did adjust in the second. I thought Tatum got it together quickly there. I think he just took 1 3 the rest of the game. So everything he was doing was downhill. 14
Exactly.
free throw attempts. Jalen was great. Mid-range maestro continues and had a good 3-point shooting game as well. So you get great games from those two. And down the roster, nobody else could get involved much. I didn't think they used Derek White enough until the second half. Smart was horrendous shooting in this game. They just couldn't find a shot at all. Brogdon's in a bit of an extended slump right now, and then until the late in the game, we all know what's going on with Hauser right now. Only 18 Rob minutes, so couldn't get a ton of help there. Grant showed up for a quarter, but just not enough support for the Jays right now offensively from this team that continues to hang around the bottom of the league offensively since late November.
Yeah. There's lots of problems, and I did some numbers, and I'll put some up on the screen in a little bit, but nothing, not like insane research here, but they're at the bottom for everything in December. That's a really bad stretch. Field goal percentage,
Yeah.
3-point percentage, offensive rating.
Exactly. Yeah.
The whole thing. So like and that's amazing is they were so, yes, of course correction was understood, but they're so good. They're still first in offensive rating overall,
It's unreal.
despite being 27.
Well, they were the best offense ever before that.
Yeah, despite
Yeah.
being
So it evened out in December. Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, but they were 27th. 27th in December overall in offensive rating. I think 26th in three-point percentage, 28th in overall field goal percentage. So the offense is a legit struggle right now and a legit concern. If you're not going to be getting stuff consistently from other people not named Tatum and Brown.
Right, and especially going up against a team like the Denver Nuggets, who are just scorching hot going into this one, and they remember the history, right? They haven't been able to beat this team, beat the Celtics in a long time, and when they got out to that huge run, when they got that huge start, I feel like the Celtics they did their best to hang around, but it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. So what's the problem?
Yeah,
is
the Jays needed help.
So what's the problem?
I've said
Bobby,
all along,
Bobby.
I don't think they generate enough quality looks right at the rim, like right inside in this game too. You look at their shot chart. I can put it up on the screen, John. I know you don't like that, but they're great when they get inside, and some of that's transition, right? A lot of things get easier when they get out on the run, and I think that's some of the thing. That's what they usually try to hang their hat on when they're struggling to shoot. But in the half court, they just do not create quality looks right at the basket. You always hear threes and layups. They just have threes. And I've sort of been tracking that stat throughout the year. Feels more often when they're going to the rim, it's to drive and kick. And not enough guys are going in there to finish. And you're not getting great finishing in there from guys aside from Brown and Tatum. Now, all that spacing, it kind of goes hand in hand because you're getting 70% shooting there from Brown and Tatum because of good spacing, I think. But in games like this where the threes aren't falling, Nuggets can pack it in a little bit. I think they really just jam most of the drivers, and you ended up with a pretty messy night. Turnovers didn't help them either in this one at times. again, I just think they're so
Yeah.
dependent on the three. How many times have they really won this year when they shot bad from three? They had one recently, but overall this year, it's kind of make or miss for them.
Yeah, but taking advantage of times when Jokic was on the bench, I feel like when you seeing Brogdon struggle the way he's been struggling on offense, it makes it really hard for them to sort of find that momentum, find their rhythm. And then you look at Marcus, he was finding guys, he made some really good plays, some good passes, but he couldn't find his offense, and they
Yeah.
needed it. They needed it in this one.
And on
So
nights like these, he starts pressing a little bit. He shot a lot in this game for how poorly he shot, and some bad decisions too. I thought Tatum took bad jump shots in this game. Uh,
Tatum was forcing the issue a little, but again, he was trying to be aggressive, probably missed some
and
makeable
Brown's doing
shots.
that too, right? He's just hitting everything.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the difference between Brown and Tatum forcing the issue is Tatum ends up in traffic and has to hit a very, difficult shot, oftentimes way off balance. He didn't get by his guy. It's contested with help coming over. Brown's just more explosive getting to the rim, so oftentimes he's just beating his guy straight up. That's always the difference when they kind of put their heads down and go. But again, you had to like Tatum's approach because he was playing through contact and drawing fouls, so that was fine. He was just a little sloppier today, trying to press a little bit when I think he realized early he couldn't feel it from 3 point line. When he misses dead square or easy early ones, top of the key, you always kind of know like you can tell a little bit there. So I mean, he did, to his credit, he got away from it. We've seen a lot of games where that's not falling early, and he'll end up 3 for 11 or 3 for 12. So he did get away from it, but he definitely was trying to force a little bit. The smart stuff, I don't get it at all because I mean, it's the easiest. The numbers on him are just so obvious, and I think one of you guys put it out today? The stat where like it's an insane stat where when he shoots more than 5 threes, the record is ridiculously bad. When he shoots fewer than 5 field goals total, they like don't lose. Like we've been over this. The smart that's necessary is the smart that doesn't do that kind of stuff. It's really weird when he does. And I don't know, maybe he's looking around and he's seeing other guys not hitting shots and he's thinking, I got to take a little on myself. Maybe he's bored. I don't know. I can never guess why. I also am always worried that the defense is kind of gaming the Celtics into finding open shooters that are the open shooters that they want taking shots, which is always the fear with this team. Because if they have a true green light and the ball keeps swinging to an open Al Horford, an open D White, and an open Marcus Smart, and like Joe's like, well, those are the shots we want you to take, you have to start thinking whether or not the other team is willing that to happen more than you guys are working for that shot.
I always think that's the fear, especially in big moments for this group. Can you actually get a lineup out there that effectively spaces the floor? And we saw it to start the year because they had the Hausers and the Grants and the Whites hitting at a ridiculous rate. And now Smart's down at 32% since late November. And White, certainly you can coax into some shooting jump shots. I thought they did that with him in this game effectively in the corner. And he's 27% since that November 30th mark where things kind of went awry there. I think there's issues of guys not really shooting with the same confidence that they did earlier in the year. I look at White and Hauser particularly there, and you're not really getting those guys as aggressive as they were before, and that carries over to Smart. I do see what you're seeing, John, there in terms of him pressing because they need a third option. I don't know what's going on with Brogdon right now. It's really puzzling.
Yeah,
Where
Brogdon's
his
a
Is he
mess.
offense
just
has gone.
is he just under the weather, Bobby? I'm thinking maybe that's it. Maybe he's just not feeling 100%.
Could be. He looked rough that game he missed. I saw him in the locker room kind of like bent over that game.
He looks like
missed.
he's aged 10 years in the last month. I don't know what happened. I swear.
But for
everything
me,
that he does, his ability to get to the rim, he was getting there early. He was getting there before, even if he
Right.
wasn't shooting well.
And you shouldn't be worn down playing the minutes he's playing.
No, he looks like he's gassed or like he's aged. So
But-
I don't know what's going
yeah.
on there. Maybe there's something nagging, that they're not really talking
Well, he was
about.
sick. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
sick.
And I know he was
last
sick
game.
with the
Could be that.
non-COVID. Yeah.
yeah, it's a non-COVID illness. I don't think it's a physical thing. Hopefully not.
I don't know. He's been slipping for a little bit here, and he was so dependable from behind the arc, and he's still shooting 37% over
Well,
the stretch. But
At a certain point, you might have to start rethinking a lot of things if you're the Celtics, and you're not there yet. This isn't like a look. I'm not a trade smart, fire Missoula panic button guy, because I do think there's enough talent here, but they might need to start rethinking.
But let's look at the formula, John. Forget the wins and losses, because they're scrapping out some wins because of great defense here. They've really turned up the heat on that end.
Yeah.
The offense has been bad for a month plus now, and yeah, that's roughly the same amount of time that it was historic before that. So you do have to start to rethink what you're doing right now and what your identity is. And Rob's back. I think that makes a big difference. I keep saying it over and over and over again. Josue and I have had this debate. We're going to keep having it. You got to get this guy involved.
I don't get it. I've been saving this one, and we can go here now.
Where's he rank on your best players?
Look, it's not even
he's
that.
Third or fourth,
what
right?
Are you doing when he's out there?
Yeah.
This is the second year in a row you got a coach who won't tell people. Get him the ball every once in a while. He just doesn't touch it. He doesn't touch the ball. It's all offensive rebound putbacks and the occasional lob. They don't give him the ball, and he's such an effective passer. And the one time he gets the ball in the block, what does he do? He faces up, puts one dribble, blows by his guy for this lightning quick reverse layup. And I was like, what was that? Like, you can do that if he's guarded by some goof. Why aren't you giving him the ball a little bit? He's so friggin' athletic. They don't get him the ball at all. Give him the ball high above the key when you're running some actions off of that. Get some cutters going. He finds people. They don't involve him at all. And not only that, like, it's the tunnel vision where they miss opportunities to get him the ball. And we've seen all the things he can do. It's not just catching it above the rim. He can catch very tricky bounce passes in traffic and collect them. He has amazing hands. You can get him the ball on the interior and let him go up. He shoots 80% from the field, for Christ's sake.
He's like 21 to 26 coming in tonight.
My
from the
God!
field.
Just let him have some touches close to the rim. What are we doing? Sorry, that one was.
I'm there with you, John. We're back in
building up for a while. We're back to it, and I'm like,
we're
what
back
are we
in
doing
2021.
Here?
He's coming off the bench. He's playing 20 minutes. He's taking 3 or 4 shots.
And I can tell you, when you're gifted a 40-minute rest period, and then they came out of it, and they chose not to have Rob out there, also didn't make sense to me. You needed stops and buckets and rebounds and maybe some second chance points. Why Al? Why go Al there? Why go Grant there? What are we doing? Like, I didn't get that at all.
It's like they didn't trust him against Jokic. Maybe that's right. Jokic killed them either way. So
you
it's
figured
not like
they
what they were doing was working.
They would throw other options at him, though, right? To sort of make him just to rattle Jokic, because he was comfortable. He was in his bag. I mean, he got to that triple-double in a hurry.
He was super limited early. The rotations they're choosing with Rob, to me, are kind of strange. I was looking back at last game. He played a very limited stint in the first quarter. They played a long stint between like the late first into the second, and then they brought him in late in the third in that game. And again, the second half burst he gave them there, and that one was critical. And that was the most they've used him so far, the 12-point game that he had against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what you're waiting
this
for.
Is where
if it's medical,
to.
If it's medical, you understand it. But we haven't gotten a huge indication that it's medical.
I don't mind. I actually say that this game, more so than any other game, he looked the most physically fit and active that he has throughout. And I'm gauging it just by getting up and down the court and how quickly he's moving and just moving to different spots on both the offensive and defensive end. It looked like he's got his legs closer to back under him now. So again, you can start to ramp up those minutes. I do believe it's trust. But where I was going before was kind of that. Like, you've got and here's the Joe Mazzulla challenge. And again, are you able to really shake shit up when it's not going the way you want? If you don't love something, can you move stuff around? Could you? I'm not saying do this, because everyone will say I said do this. Can you take Marcus Smart out as a starting point guard and put Brogdon in? Not because Smart sucks, but to unlock Brogdon, or to try that combination with the first unit to see whether or not that's what you might need now. Or try some different combinations. Do you bring Al to the bench? Do you bring in Rob? Do you start to go double big a little bit? Do you try some different things outside of what you're doing? Because right now he's got one move: start Derek White or start Grant. Or start Derek White and then start Grant, and that's it. But can you move stuff around now? Are you able to do it? and to try different combinations. That's what you're supposed to do in this situation. Or you just keep playing through it and being like, well, we got some good shots and we thought we were gonna make,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
driving me crazy. The stupid make shots thing, and it's true, right? If they make a couple more shots in this game, it's a completely different game. But it's all about where you're getting your shots from and adjustments and all that different kind of stuff, because they've had numerous games this year where the shots just aren't there.